Welcome, everybody, to the R&R CatCast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on our instant reaction show. We're here to talk about Montana State's beatdown of Idaho 38-7. We'll give you the good, the okay, and the bad, and then we're going to run down the big sky, what happened in week 7. Thorny, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. Can't wait to talk about this. This was an exciting night of football for Bobcat fans, and such a good showcase on ESPN2. Such a good production when that happens. It's like so much better than the ESPN Plus. I love it.
I'd say you're right on that, man. Even we had to wait until 7:15 over here on the West Coast. I can't imagine if you're watching this. I know my sister was over in Ohio watching this.
That's rough.
She was like, I can't keep my eyes open. I was like, I bet. But yeah, it looked beautiful, sounded beautiful. Montana State, the production
so good.
Is so amazing. I would say just applause to Montana State because the atmosphere is absolutely elite. It comes across on television so good, and it would be so much better in person. But from afar, well done, Montana State. You make us proud. Before we get into the good, the okay, and the bad, let's go down the college scoreboard. Some things happened yesterday, man, in the Big Sky. It was a kind of a weird day. We'll start off over in Missoula. Montana rebounded against Northern Arizona 31-20. It was a kind of an ugly game. There wasn't much offense to be had. 31-20. The Grizz kind of made some adjustments on defense second half. Logan Fife finished with just shy of 200 yards with one touchdown. And Northern Arizona struggled in the red zone. Early on, they were able to push it at will. They had, I think they're down to like a backup quarterback or maybe even their third string quarterback. He was not very good. And I think that kind of bit them in the foot ultimately.
Bit them in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Not shot him in the foot. Not bit him in the butt. Bit him in the foot.
Hey, there's a new one.
I mean, that would slow me down if someone chomped on my foot for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of kept an eye on this game a little bit, just checking the scores, and I thought Idaho State was kind of in command, but Portland State comes storming back, wins 42-38 in Pocatello. Chachere, 400 yards of offense, 6 touchdowns, as Portland State goes on the road and gets their first win of the season.
Chachere had 400 yards? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, more than 400. I don't have the stats open. I'm just looking at the little blurb that ESPN gives you.
Oh, okay. I'm only seeing 200, but it might be wrong. But that was an interesting game. I thought Idaho State was going to take that one, but good on Portland State for getting into the win column.
Well, he had 216 through the air and 202 on the ground.
Nah, that's what I'm not seeing. I'm just seeing his passing skills. So, all right. So, Montana State's going out to Portland State next week. They'll take on a winning Portland State team.
I'm guessing that game's going to be closer than yesterday's game.
Yeah, I'd probably say so.
Yep.
We'll talk about that tomorrow, though.
Yep.
Let's see. Davis put it on Cal Poly 56-10. Miles Hastings threw for 458 yards. Oh, my gosh. Ooh. 4 touchdowns, 27 from 30. I didn't watch a lick of that game, but it wasn't even close. Davis put 28 points up in the first quarter alone and 14 in the second and then 7-7. So it looks like they kind of cut off the dogs or had their second team, probably even third team playing at that point.
Davis is now the second best team in the Big Sky, I would say. They're kind of cruising, man. They're 6-1. They had a couple close games here and there, but hey, 6-1, 3-0.
Yeah, I was thinking if I had to put out a power rankings, they'd probably be number 2 in my poll right now.
Yep. The shocker heard around the world, Northern Colorado somehow goes to Ogden and beats Weber State, snapping an 18-game losing streak.
I feel so happy for those guys.
They outscored Weber State 14-3 in the second half and pulled away. I have no idea what happened in this game. I didn't watch a second of it. I don't know if Weber State got guys hurt or there's just some fluke crazy things that happened, but that's a bad loss at home. That is program ruining loss. Like they might spiral. They might not come back from that.
Yeah, I watched the last 15 minutes of that game just to see UNC's players celebrate. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see that for them. They full on poured the Gatorade on Coach Lamb. The elation and just relief that swept over those guys. I just felt so happy
Yeah.
for them because you never want to see a program struggle that bad.
No,
It's
no.
just
At the
their
end of the day, they're just
defense.
kids, man.
Yeah, their defense looked pretty salty. They came up with some timely stops. Weber had this really weird turnover where the center snapped the ball and then just kind of dropped it. It looked like he was like saying, "Oh, was there a whistle or something?" And then UNC like fell on it because nobody moved. It was the weirdest thing. And then the refs they were able to waste some salt away the clock. So kind of a weird turn of events at the very end. And the announcers had mentioned he was like there was a couple fluky turnovers for Weber, but man, just good to see the Bears scrapping and getting a win, and just the relief I saw on Coach Lamb's face and the players just whooping it up on the sidelines. Good for them. I was just happy for
Yeah.
those guys.
And glad it wasn't us.
All right, the last game that wasn't ours, Eastern Washington took down Sac State 35-28.
On the
I'm not
road
sure if
yet
this
again.
Bears is. Yes, I know, right?
All
Sac
these
State's now
upsets.
2-4. 2-4, no, and 2 in the Big Sky. I think Sac State is not the same Sac State that we all are accustomed to. I'm not sure if they're even going to be ranked. They're probably going to be in like the 20s at this point. But Eastern Washington coming back, scoring 14 in the third and 7 in the fourth, and so that's a good win for Sac State, or excuse me, for the Eagles, and a kind of a surprising victory right there.
It was like Eastern had a 10-play, 99-yard drive to put them
Wow,
up 14 with 2:46 left.
yeah.
That's absurd. Usually, if you pin a
Maybe
team at the
Eastern
one,
and
you're
Sac are
good.
kind of like the same team right now. They kind of feel
Yeah. Well, Eastern might be pulling it
about that
together a
same
little bit,
level.
and Sac is kind of figuring out what they're doing here. All right, what a crazy day in the Big Sky, man.
Yeah,
And for a while, it looked like
punctuated.
NAU was going to take down the Grizz. They were kind of having their way there, but like you said, several red zone stall outs. If they would have converted a few of those into touchdowns, it's a different game. But
Mm-hmm.
wild day, except I guess it was also wild in Bozeman because I don't know if anybody would have expected us just to demolish Idaho like that. You told me Chance Wilson was playing that in the fourth quarter. I'm like, I don't know about that. Man,
It. I had a feeling all week that it didn't have to be close, and I'm pretty reserved with my stuff because I get a little bit of superstition going.
yep.
It played out, man. I think the revenge factor was 100% real.
It was obvious from the beginning. The defense in particular, they did not want that to happen again.
Oh no, oh no.
All right, let's
All
get
right.
into the good, bad, or the good, the okay. Like I'm gonna just echo what you said. The good, the atmosphere, the production, just the whole thing. People were talking about it on Twitter, like people that weren't even like associated with Montana State. It was pretty awesome. It was really cool, and it sounded really cool on TV. I love it. Like when ESPN2 or the main network comes in, they mic up the crowds, and it sounds so much better. It sounds like a real college atmosphere, and the fans brought it. They were screaming and hollering all game long. I loved it.
It was so sweet to see our Montana State in the national spotlight just dominating too. It just put a big old smile on my face. And my mom even called me today. She's like, "Hey, but the Bobcats were on like national television last night." She's over in Ohio as well. I'm like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty cool. It's
Yep.
pretty cool."
Go into pretty much any
I'm gonna give you,
bar, whether it's a sports bar or not, and they'll probably have ESPN2. Put it on.
yeah,
Pretty cool.
1 o'clock in the morning. Montana State's playing in New York. I like it.
It's got to be some bar in New York that
I'm
had
gonna
it on.
shout out to Tommy Malott, the field general, making plays with his arms and his legs. It is clear he's on. He's like Mario when Mario gets the star, and he's just kind of invincible, and he's just wrecking shop. That's who he is right now. He's just on a different level. We'll get into all of his stats tomorrow. Just take a moment to appreciate it, Montana State fans, because it's he's gonna be gone next year, and it's really awesome to see right now.
I thought the defense was awesome. They played with their hair on fire. They played with a ton of passion. Callahan O'Reilly, man, what a game he had.
Callahan,
What? Is it not Callahan?
Callahan,
Am I doing the older brother now?
McCade.
McCade O'Reilly. Jeez. There's a slip. Oh, man. Yeah, but he was flying all over the place. Maybe that's why, because he just looked like his brother out there. He looks like he's really taking a step. And the defense
Yeah.
is playing fast. And
Mhm.
the announcers commented on it several times. And I'm not sure how actually fast they are, but they're playing fast. Doesn't matter how
Mhm.
fast you actually are. If you're not playing fast, it doesn't matter. They're playing fast right now.
Mhm.
And it was
Mhm.
so good to have Drew Pollard back. He's like the
Yeah,
missing
when
piece,
he
man.
shot behind the line like a missile, you're
Yeah.
like, that's a classic Drew Paldor tackle right
No one
there.
else really does that from the safety position like he does. So good to have him back.
Yeah. I was going to give big props to our offensive line, and we probably should talk about these guys more than we do. We just kind of take them for granted. But that was the headliner, our offensive line versus Idaho's defensive line, and they just manhandled those guys. Idaho came in averaging or giving up less than 100 yards per game, and we had over 300 of rushing, and I was just like, it wasn't even a problem. It wasn't even a problem.
No, we had over
we started the
100 early in like the second quarter.
Yeah, we started I think the first two offensive plays were back to back 14, 15-yard
Yeah.
runs by Scotchy Humphrey. Just gash plays.
Yeah, when I saw those two, I'm like, I wasn't sure how well we're going to be able to run. And the first two plays were like 25 yards of just Humphrey off tackle. Loved it.
Let's
Other thing in my
roll.
good category, Scotchy Humphrey. That
Yeah.
guy runs hard, and he's finally, I think he's putting it together, man. He's like a complete back right now.
I was thinking this last night. He might be my new favorite running back of the last five years, probably.
Yeah,
I loved Julius Davis last year. He was kind of eclipsing that. I've always been a huge fan of Afonso. I just there's something about this kid.
yep. No, he's special, man. He's built. He's built for it. Put it that way.
Two things for me in the good leftover was the run defense, and I know we just talked about the defense, but forgot to mention it. They held Idaho to 91 yards of rushing, which was we were really concerned about Alicia Cummings coming into this matchup, and man, you're right. Just they could not run the ball against us, and a lot of that came late in the game when we were really subbing. Um, and my last big thing, and it doesn't have to be your last big thing, but Montana State showed me that when they needed to make a play, they made a play. There was sometimes like you texted me earlier today. You're like, man, Idaho missed some spots. They certainly did. They missed some passes, and we weren't going to get them all. But when it came down to it, when Montana State needed to make the play, we made a play. We caused a fumble. We got a turnover. We converted a third down, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a sign of a championship team.
No, there was the play where I'm not sure the running back, but he busted open. He had a lot of space, but was it Rylan Ort who barely just caught him by the arm and stripped the ball out? If he didn't do that,
Yeah.
that running back's got a lot of green. So
Mm-hmm,
just like the
mm-hmm.
little plays like that were all in Montana State's favor. And you're right. That's a turning point, I think.
Yeah.
Because Idaho had chances and they did not. They missed open receivers. They dropped some passes. Like, you can call it lucky on the Cats, but good teams make those plays.
Yep.
And maybe the moment was too big. I think Idaho was a little shook by the crowd there. Maybe, perhaps, maybe not, but it was a fun game of football. I had something else I was going to put in the good category, but it's not coming to my mind right now. So that's all right. Let's keep it moving, I guess.
Yeah. All right. And the okay, I had to really search my brain for an okay, and I'm maybe stretching on this one. The empty student section in the fourth quarter. Come on, students, get back there. Like it's no excuse. I saw the big swath of empty seats up there, and I was like, okay, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I get it. We're up by 38 points. Enjoy the moment. Just relish it.
It's party time. It's late. This
I
game,
wanted to see this.
funnily enough, just transpired like every other game we've played so far.
Yeah.
This is exactly how games like against Mercyhurst went. You just get that comfortable lead, and we just kept smoking them, and then eventually put your backups in, and then it's not as exciting because it was against a good opponent, but it played out the same way all the other games have played out.
I imagine we'll have some golden clues on like what happens when Montana gets tested in a close game. It's been since game one since we've had a close
Yeah.
game. But yeah, that's something to think about.
I heard that all week. Montana State hasn't been tested. Well, still haven't. That's my rebuttal to all the people that thought I was going to come in and test us, and they were battle tested. We weren't. Well, unfortunately, they didn't really put up much of a battle. There's my little smack talk. It's as smack talk as I get. In the
You have some
okay,
good stuff sometimes. Like you can come back with
Yeah.
you're more crafty. You like savory seats when it comes to smack talk, and you bring those back. I like that about you.
Thank you. In the okay, I praise the defense, but we still gotta. There's been almost every game this year. There's a streaking guy wide open, and quarterbacks just keep overthrowing them. Like we are getting lucky. There was a wide open one that Josephic overthrew, I think, and then there was a sideline one where he was scrambling to his left and threw it to a wide open guy on the sideline and just drifted out of bounds. And there was a drop slant. I mean, we're playing great defense, but those team's going to come in and make those plays eventually.
Yeah.
It feels like we've shorted up a little bit, but I don't know. We're still, like you said, you're not going to stop everything. No one's going to stop everything. They're going to complete big plays. Good teams are going to make plays. So
Yeah.
it's going to happen, but it's still like, it's just like once a game, there's a wide open wide receiver that gets overthrown, I feel. And one of the times they're going to catch it.
And it could be something as communication or we weren't passing the guy off like we should, but it seems to be over the middle quite often where they just find a zone. It's typically when we do play zone and we only rush 4. So yeah, I noticed that too.
Well, we're having like a cascading rotation of safeties. Probably doesn't help the communication. Everyone keeps getting hurt, so like 3 or 4 different safeties playing so far this year. Rylan Ort's the only steady guy the entire time.
Yeah.
So that's all I got in my okay category, I guess.
Move on to the bad. I got to start with Danny, the Danny Yu injury. Hearing it's not good. Man, and Coach Vegan talked about it. He literally said he went out in the blaze of glory. And I was like, man, that's some interesting words right there, Coach Vegan. And I don't know if it happened the play before, or maybe when he pivoted on his interception, but dang, that's a tough one to swallow.
That's a bad one, man. If he was kind of like I think it's kind of that captain, that general that kind of gets guys lined up and the fiery leader guy back there. So I think it's going to be an adjustment learning to play defense without him if he truly is gone for an extended period of time, if not the whole season. So yeah, that's a rough one. That's the only thing I had in my bad category. A game like this, like I don't even want to focus on anything bad. This was a complete domination, and that's all I really. The only bad thing is a guy got hurt. It's the only really bad.
I got like
thing.
5 more things in my bad category.
That's unfortunate. All right, I guess
I'll just rattle them off. I won't.
Here.
Yeah, I like to keep this underneath 20 minutes, so this will be quick. Play calling first series, we got a little cute when we got into the red zone when we were just hammering them with just running off tackle, and then we settled for a 51-yard field goal that we missed. It felt like the end of last. It was like a repeat of what was happening in Idaho. That was very frustrating at the very beginning.
That was a pretty good kick.
Yeah, it's in the wind, and you just again, you're like missed field goal against Idaho.
Yeah, here we go.
Tamakola on that drop, that was such a hard pass because it was going across the field, and Tommy just dropped that. Couldn't have been in a better place. No. And you have to make that catch. Absolutely have to make that catch.
I watched a replay on that. I don't think he located it until it was like basically in his hands. I think he lost it or couldn't find it.
Yeah. But I think that's our first punt that we had after that. So that was unfortunate. Back-to-back 4th down conversions for the Vandals when they went for it late in the game on their 30-yard line when it was 4th and 5, and we covered at 4th and 7. I like 7 yards behind it. I was like, just cover the sticks, man. Just get there. So number 10, who's number 10? Is that Bryce Grebe?
Yeah, it's Grebe.
Yeah, it was a work upon for him. And then they converted another one where on that same drive again, like back to back fourth down calls where number two, defensive back number two, I can't think of his name right now. Is that Paljo? That might be. Anyways,
Polidor is number
he
2, I
come.
thought.
Who's that?
I thought Polidor was number 2.
Okay. Well, they kind of like over pursued and allowed the quarterback to break contain, and they just scampered for 11 yards right there. So that was a bit frustrating. And their touchdown is my last one that I had. It didn't look like a touchdown at all, and the fact that Big Sky didn't even review it was like they just want to get out of here. It's like like it's obviously not a touchdown. And somebody on Bobcat Nation goes, "That wasn't a touchdown, not even Russia." It's such a funny comment. I was like, "Oh, I wanted it so bad. I wanted the shutout so bad."
Well, the defense wanted it too. Everybody wanted it. They were fighting out there.
Yeah, and they converted a fourth down on that drive as well. But we did stop them on the fourth down early in the game that set the tone, and that was huge. That was huge because that was the narrative last year, right? We flipped the script. Let's finish on positive. We flipped the script. We almost had the ball for 40 minutes this year to their 20 minutes this year, and it's a perfect game for Montana State.
Just the revenge piece of it, man. I love it. After last year, they truly have embraced the every game mentality, and they're focused, man. They're locked in.
See, that's what I hope going forward. And I think we'll probably talk about that tomorrow because it felt like sometimes last year when we would have these big moments, then we would feel affirmed, and then we played lackluster after that. So Montana State needs to continue to bring it. They're going to have to bring their own energy next week when they're playing in a high school stadium. And it's, Montana State feels good when 22,000 people are yelling and it's ESPN and it's the night game. That's easy. But what happens when it's Portland State midday in Portland and you got 2,000 Cat fans there? So Montana State needs to continue to work and have that 1-0 mentality. But it's good to be 7-0, Thorny. We're 7-0 right now.
It's a great
That's crazy
feeling
to think.
And,
awesome.
And the good part is, this could have been a slobber knocker, bang up game, and we came out of it and playing our backups. So going into Portland State, I think will be better physically than it could have been. And this game could have been like a real just guys dropping left and right physical bruiser of a game, and it was physical. But I feel better at this outcome than going into like a game like Portland State, because that is kind of like a trap game, if you will, if you use that word.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Anything else you want to throw in here?
Nope.
Wrap it up. All right. Well, that was an exciting win. Sorry for not always putting out the instant reaction shows, but we got one here for you folks tonight, this afternoon, I guess. You can find us on the web, RR Catcast. You can find us on Twitter, RR Catcast. Let's keep this short. Let's get out of here. Go Cats.
Go Cats.